Okay, we are now on page 2 of the instructions for, let's try that again. Page 2 of the instructions for the word practice test, and the first thing we want to do is add a new paragraph at the bottom of the document with these 3 lines of text. I want to put a tab character before I start the name and a tab character before I start the state. And then I'm going to set tab stops so that the text is automatically positioned at the 1-inch mark on the left side over here and the 5.5-inch mark on the right side over here. And then we're going to add a dot leader to this right tab stop so we can get these dots here in the middle. Okay, so let's just open up a new line or two here and hit tab, and I press the tab key there, but you don't see anything, and the problem is it is so close to the default tab stop here at 1.5 that there's no room available to put tab character in. Well, the tab character is there, but there's no room to display it. But it'll show up soon. Now we want to put Virginia, and then we want John Adams, and there we see the tab character, and he's from Massachusetts. And then we had Benjamin Franklin, and he's from Pennsylvania. Okay, and then I want to select all 3 of those lines, and when you do this with tab stops, be careful you don't get an extra paragraph above or an extra paragraph below. That's not possible in this case, but you don't want that paragraph above. You want to just get the lines that have the 2 tab characters on them. And now we need to go do some more tab stuff, and that is in the paragraph group, but it's not on the ribbon, so we have to go to our dialog box. So we'll click on the dialog box launcher here and click on tabs down here at the bottom left, and I forgot to put my tabs in. But I can do it this way too. We'll do it this way. I want one at the 1-inch mark, so and I want that to be a left tab, and I want to set that, and I want one at the 5.5-inch mark, and I want that to be a right tab, and I want a dot leader with it, and click on OK. And that's another way to set tabs. I don't necessarily have to go over here and cycle through my tab characters here at the top of the ruler. I've got a left tab here. If I click on it, you'll see a nice smooth margin lined up underneath it. And I've got a right tab here, and if I click on that one, you'll see another smooth margin lined up right underneath it. And then I've got the dot leader here that's associated with the 5.5-inch tab. Okay. So we can cross all 3 of those 3 things off our list. So let's go, and I missed the A. Let's try that again. So go to my home font group and click on that. Okay, now we want a new empty paragraph at the bottom, and we want to create the following table. Well, that's the same stuff that was in the table above, so I'm going to just do a little copy and paste in here to save myself a little time. So I can copy, or I can type Control-C, and I can paste, or I can type Control-V. Either one works. And because I've already got tab characters in there, I can use those tab characters to tell Word where one column ends and the next one begins in a table. Now I'm going to end up with an extra column here because of these tabs over here at the left, but that's real easy to fix. So let's go to Page Layout. Let's go to Insert, Table, and convert text to table, and you see it's going to give me 3 columns. That's not a problem. Click on OK, and all I have to do now is just go here, get my fat black arrow pointing down at the top, select just that one, and I think the easy way to do this is just right click and choose Delete Columns, and it goes away. Now I also need to insert one, and I can go here and select this and right click again and choose Insert and choose rows above. And if I have 1 row selected, I'll get 1 row inserted. If I have 2 rows selected, I'll get 2 rows inserted, and so on. So I'm going to put a row up above, and I think what I had here was just name and state over here. Okay, so now I've got the table. Let's cross that out. I want the font to be red and the columns to be 2 and 1.5. So let's select those. Let's make all of our text red. That's going to be on the Home tab. Here's my font color. I want red from the standard colors. If I pause the mouse, the color comes up. Click on the color, and now I've got red. And then I want this column right here. Let's go to Layout. That's where that is. And I want it to be 2 inches wide. And you can either type on top of this, which probably would have been easier, or you can just bounce on the down arrow until you get to 2 inches. And on this side I want 1.5. Right now it's at 1.15. Whoops, went one too far. Okay, and that takes care of those two options. And then I want to shade the first row. Rows go across using Aqua Accent 5 Lighter 60%. So let's select the first row, and that's shading. And I want Aqua, which is this column, and I want lighter 60%. That one right there. Okay. And so that takes care of this one. Then I want to center the table, not the text in the cells, but I want the table itself to be in the middle of the page. So select the whole table by clicking on the little table selector button up here, and then go to your home tab and do this. And it centers the table. Now I'm going to undo that for a second and then show you another thing that can happen. If I just select this data in the cells like that and click on center, it centers the data within the cells. And it looks like I had the whole table selected, but it doesn't work that way. If I want to actually apply an alignment command to the table, I've got to select the table right here. And actually there's a subtle difference here. Did you notice when I had this selected, these little table symbols that are over here, I'm going to hit escape, that are over here on the right are not selected, but when I click on this, they do get selected. And so now I can select the whole table and center it, and that's what I needed to do. And so we can select that and click on strikeout. Okay, now I need to insert a shape below the table. I want a horizontal scroll under the stars and banners. So hit enter, and let's do insert, and that's going to be a shape. Go down to stars and banners, and I want to scroll, and here's a couple of scrolls right here, and I want a horizontal one, and they do have names, so if you pause for a second you'll see that you're getting the right one. And then I get crosshairs, and I can click and drag and draw a scroll there. And then I want to set its width to 4.7 and its height to 1.2. Let me see. Okay, 4.7. And if you're using width monitors, you probably won't see height and width here, but you will see these two icons for height and width. Okay, so now I've got that the right size. I can cross those two things out. Then add the following text, the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. So we just need to go here. And you notice if I click on it, I don't get an I-beam cursor. But if I right click and go to, I don't know if this one works or not. No, it doesn't. That's something different. Click off of it. I'm not sure why this is something you have to do, but click off of it, then right click on it, and you'll get add text, which is a different menu from what I had before. And now I get the I-beam in there, and I want to put the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. Okay, so that added some text. Cross that out. Set the font to Old English Text MT. Okay, so we got to select it first, and I don't know if you can see this on the video, but it is a little slightly different shade of blue here around the text. And I want to change the font. That's going to be on the Home tab. And the easy way to do the font here, I've got a lot of fonts, is just type the first couple of letters. If I type Old English Text comes up, and click on it, and there it is. And I want to set the size to 20 points, and I want the alignment to be centered. So let's set the size, it's still selected, set the size to 20, and it appears that by default it's centered, so I probably shouldn't have even had that question on there, but we've got it centered now, and we can cross that out. And then add a shadow using outer offset diagonal bottom right. Okay, so make sure this is selected, go to Format, and that's a shape effect, not a text effect. And I want a shadow offset diagonal bottom right. That's the very first one here, and now you see a little shadow on the right and across the bottom of my scroll. Cross that one out. Add some WordArt at the end of the document. Use your name, make it into WordArt using this particular style. So I'm going to hit the enter key a couple times. Now watch what happens here. You notice it's gone now. I'm not sure how to make it reappear, but there was a little anchor character over there, and I'm going to hit the enter key a couple of times here. And you see this keeps moving down. It keeps moving down because images in your document are anchored to a particular paragraph. And this one happens to be anchored to this paragraph right here. And if I want to anchor it to a different paragraph, I can move it up one paragraph at a time. Okay, so I'm going to anchor it on this paragraph right here. And now if I hit the enter key some more times below that, I'm below the anchor, so I'm not pushing that down. And now I want to insert my name, and I want to select it and make it into WordArt. So select it. WordArt is under the insert, and go to WordArt here. And I think the one I said was accent 1, blue accent 1, metal bevel reflection, and that's the one in the lower right hand corner here. And make it any size you want as long as it doesn't cover anything else. So okay, we will stretch it out here a little bit, and that automatically gets centered as well. I'm going to hit the enter key a few times, and I got the same problem I had before. I got that little anchor getting pushed down, so I got to pull this up a few and get it anchored to another paragraph. Okay, and then we can cross that out. Now the last thing we want to do is go to the end of the document after our sacred honor. So the actual document ended right here, and then we just put in a bunch of extra stuff. And I want to create a new citation, book, your name, and the title is Intro to Computers. So that's on the References tab, and I want to insert a citation. I want to add a new source, and it's book and last name, and the format for this is usually last name, comma, space, first name. And the title is supposed to be Intro to Computers. Click on OK. And now I've got a citation there. And then the last thing I want to do is move to the end of the document, insert a bibliography. So let's go to the end of the document, just right down here. And that's also under References. Go to Bibliography, and I want the Works Cited type of bibliography. And so I choose that. And there's only one source here and one endnote. That's how you do it. So that concludes the practice test. The actual test will be similar to this. There may be a few topics that I did not cover in the practice test that might be on the actual test, and vice versa. But this will give you a feel for what the test is going to look like, what it's going to look like.